Hello everyone, welcome back to our NuWave Leadership channel. And today Vishnupriya, one of the co-founders of NuWave Leadership, and myself, Sabrina Lindner, the other co-founder of NuWave Leadership, are back with a new, very interesting question that we asked the collective of one around 5D living. So over to you, Vishnupriya. What is the question for today?
Yes, so this is going to be question number 5. As a sequence, the next question that I asked was I had heard a lot about 1D, 2D, 3D until 7D is what I had heard from other teachings. So I wanted more clarification. Also, what would be COO's perspective around this 1D to 7D? So, in other teachings, I had been taught that it's kind of a ladder, right? So, you kind of progress from one thing to the next, and you always, whichever stage that you are in, there is a curiosity for you to move to the next level. So, that was my understanding around it, which changed and shifted after I listened to the answer that COO had said for this particular question. So, here comes the entire question. So, what we have heard from others' teachings, they talk about 1D to 7D, and then each of these different dimensions or densities, which is also a question that I have. How do you call it? Is it dimensions? Is it densities? Is there a difference between the two? And from your perspective, what is this 1D to 7D? And is it even important or significant for the new wave? Over to you, Sabrina. Let's listen to the answer.
Yes, so the collective of one answered this way. Again, what is important to grasp is that all of this is an attempt to explain something that is far beyond what the human mind can currently understand. So we would not want to judge these terms. We would not want to judge these ways of trying to explain it, but in true essence, it is not really relevant. If you imagine the universe as a construct of pure energy, and that there is really nothing else other than energy, then you can probably see that all these dimensions and densities are simply human attempts to try to find terminologies for things that they can sort of sense are true, but cannot fully grasp yet. So when you come from your very unique perspective as NuWave, you can choose new terms, and we highly encourage you to let go of any hierarchical thinking, of any thinking that puts people in certain boxes like you would have automatically when you think of first to seventh. You would think that someone in the first density is at a certain level, and then you would judge them for that. And then all the way to the seventh, you would judge them for that. So when you want to create your own terminologies and structures around how you teach, we highly encourage you to look at everyone as equal, and the truth being that the diversity is the real beauty. That all the diversity that you find on this planet is a representation of what energy truly is. And energy is nothing you can box in. Energy is nothing you can put in certain constrictions. Eventually, it will leak out. It will blow up the structures. It will create chaos. So come from that place of non-linear, non-structured, non-hierarchical, and the more colorful, the more chaotic it is, the more beautiful it truly is. Because it represents the energy, the true essence of the universe much more accurately. Wow. This was one of the answers that really blew me away, but I will give it over to Vishnupriya to put in her words how she would also talk about this question.
Yes. So as I said before the answer, in my mind, 1D to 7D. So that's what I learned from other teachings, which was, just like how COO puts it, it was very much like a ladder, like a hierarchy. And obviously, now after listening to the answer, I was like, oh, yes, aren't we actually judging ourselves and others when we say that, oh, this person is in 3D or this being is in 2D and this person is in 6D, which means they are better than you, and so many judgments that comes along with it. So after I listened to this answer, I was ready to let go of any of such boxes, as they call it, structures or hierarchy and ladder or labels. It's like, hey, there's just energy. And energy can be in all forms, in all different colors, in all different variations, slower moving, faster moving. Let it be in all different shapes and patterns. And isn't that the true beauty of the universe? Right? So for me, I would look at, let's say, two different beautiful flowers, right? One is yellow flower, one is red flower. And even if one is 3D and one is 5D, but look at both of those beautiful flowers and you would see that, hey, there is beauty in both, right? So we do not have to judge and say that, hey, this is 3D and this is 5D, and therefore this flower is better than the other, doesn't suit, right? So therefore, after this answer, the major transition that I had was to really see the beauty in everything, regardless of all the boxes that we had put over it before. I just let go of it. I started seeing the beauty in it and I started accepting. The level of acceptance that comes here, it's not the level, rather, it's a very different form of acceptance when you can truly see the beauty in all of those variations. So that's how I would say we do not have to put this word 1D, 2D, 3D. Still, if you see in our case in New Wave, we do take the word 5D living because it's much easier for somebody to understand that 5D living is a different type of living than the normal version of life that we are living. That's the reason we still use the word 5D, but from the entire new wave teachings that we are putting out there, there isn't any such ladder because of the answer that we got for this particular question. Over to you, Sabrina. How would you see it?
Yes, I mean, as I just said, after I finished reading, this was one of the answers that I absolutely loved. And that really resonated with my deepest like body. You know, my energetic body was like, yes, that's the truth when I listened to it. And it's interesting. My background is different from Vishnupriya's. Vishnupriya has been exposed to all these different, healing modalities and spiritual teachings, and she has a lot of wisdom in that aspect. I was only recently introduced to spiritual concepts. I've always kind of stayed away from it for most of my life. And still, in my world, there were a lot of labels. There were a lot of labels of what is right and what is wrong. And in my world, it was like diversity is right. That is why probably I also resonate a lot with what COO is saying here. But who doesn't embrace diversity or who is not open minded in certain ways was wrong in my world. And I was judging them for how they are. And listening to that message by the COO really opened my eyes even more to, the way as humans we put those boxes of right and wrong. And then we put everything in either of these boxes, something we shift around sometimes, but most of the time there are certain values, beliefs, and perspectives that we strongly hold as true. And we are in strong unacceptance of anything else that doesn't resonate with our boxes. But when we start seeing everything as energy, then everything is kind of relative and everything can be seen as one variation of an expression of energy, which I find so beautiful. And once we do that, interestingly, again, what happens when we have that level of acceptance of seeing everything just as energy is that these boxes melt away and we can start having conversations, beautiful conversations with people that we never thought we could connect with before. And that is the true idea of this, diversity and oneness. And yes, I believe that it really opens so many doors for humanity once we can embrace that fully. So that's my perspective on this.
Absolutely, beautifully explained, Sabrina. And thank you so much. I hope this video was another mind blowing aspect coming through. So please do like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you in our next video. Bye.
See you soon.